Hey guys, welcome to another live stream here at Media Molecule Towers. It's me, John, and
Kareem. Hello.
I'm a bit more excited than Kareem. Kareem's going to balance it.
Yin and yang, yin and yang.
The reason we're excited is there's a few of us molecules tonight going to the BAFTAs because we're up for an award for Tearaway for Best British Game. We've got Costa here as well, who's standing in for Jenny and Dan. Hey Costa, say hello.
Hello.
Hello. It's Costa. So yeah, hopefully we might come away with a BAFTA, but good luck to everyone who's taken part there.
And we want, so because Alex and Jenny are in the BAFTAs today, so we won't be able to reply to all of the messages as you guys are used to, so forgive us.
But Costa's going to do his best. He's going to be on, like, doing the typing. Okay, so
what do we do?
What are we doing today?
Today is a very exciting day because we've been asked a lot about the Mech scene or the moon scene in our previous presentations, and that was one of John's. And we thought today to dissect it, rebuild the scene, and rebuild some of the mech that lives within it. The thing to show off some of John's techniques and some of his favorite things he likes to do in Dreams. So we'll do that, and we'll remember things, and we'll discuss. So we'll ask you things and see how it goes. This piece here is, what's that, John?
So this is I built this today quickly. I have all these modular pieces from the sci-fi level that you guys have seen on previous Twitch streams, and so I've made a small part of it just so I could get the assets into a level. I could have just brought these in for a search, but I thought it'd be good to show you guys where we start off. And what we're going to do is we're going to extend it this way a little bit, and I'll show you kind of like some of the techniques and how that works, and how you can make things modularly and how they work together with our like super cool grid system.
It's good to see a set as well like that, showing that you can drop in your level a complete set and not even have to work on it or expand it or do anything. If you have in mind a story or an experience you want to do straight away and it needs a mechanical set, you just can find it.
Totally.
And then expanding it is quite simple. So take us through what you're doing, John.
So here I've multiple selected all these blocks, and I'm pulling it out. But obviously you'd get a repeating pattern if I just pulled it out straight. So I designed these blocks to look different on each of the 6 sides. So I can just pull it out, rotate it around a little bit, and then it looks different. So you don't get the sort of traditional tiling that you would expect. And I can multiple select as many of those as I want. So this is
close up. Can you close up on one of those styles? See, the wonderful thing about Dream is that they are like handmade textures. So the amazing thing that you're showing us is that even without we don't have one single texture in Dream. It's all using the tool and the paint tools and the sculpting tools that are in it to create some very, very detailed looking.
And yeah, we don't have texture maps. We just come in and paint them, which we're actually going to show you a bit later. Textures that you want, you may want to make stone or you may want to make metal. So we'll talk you through how we do some of that. So this is cool. You can also clone things reciprocally over, which you guys have seen before. Which when things have been built on the grid, just works really, really nicely. You can see it just gets to a nice position and fits in perfectly. So you can see we're already starting to extend the scene.
Yeah.
Any suggestions on
I think
the sort of direction we're going?
One thing to put, John, quickly is a strong light there, just to show off what you're doing.
Yes,
it might be a bit dark.
Good point, yeah. So I've put lights in the scene already, so we can just grab any one of these lights, and we should be able to copy it. Grab the block behind, so get a light over here. That's good. So
cool.
We can see what we're doing now.
Amazing.
That is a bright light.
That is cool.
I'll put it up a tiny bit. That was a multiple select, so I'll just put it up in the head a bit. There we go. Cool. So that'll light the scene up nicely. So you can see how I've started building this wall here, and the way these blocks work is really nice. Is you can see how it lines up with these blocks. If I shrink it down, it shrinks down in powers of 2, so it's really nice for expanding up, and you can see it will always fit on that grid, which is really great. So all these pieces work in the same way, so I can extend them up like this or use them as smaller size, but at the end they will line up on the same grid, which is super useful basically.
It's amazing. John, when he first, it just brings back some memories. John, when he first joined us, was in the not Lionhead, no, in the Little Big Planet community. We were looking at the first creations, and then we were told. I remember. I can't remember who exactly told me, but it was like, you've got to check this out. There's this level that looks unbelievable, and it was a post-apocalyptic
future war zone.
It looks like this is your stamp in the world of gaming. Like,
I'm really sorry.
Many years later, and you still. But the thing is, I think post-apocalyptic genre is very, very popular because it's full of very, very exciting things and textures, cities and industrial design.
Yeah, it's nice sort of exploring that sort of decay of society and what could happen, but also seeing the beauty in, like, this is obviously like a horrible environment. If you wouldn't want to set a tent up here, but there's beauty in that horror, which is something that's always fascinated me, I think.
In CG as well, it shows off the different materials, the techniques, and you can really have an interesting, exciting environment to explore and navigate. Oh wow, what's that now?
It's building a overhead rail.
Wow.
Put some chains on, so you can see how the sort of clone tool is really great for blocking out that kind of thing.
It's nice to see as well that the experience in Dream of making quite a next-gen looking environment out of pre-made pieces by someone else.
Oh yeah, it's really nice actually, just having assets like this that other people can take and use. So like, I've obviously at work set these up for everyone else to use, so like you or Francis or whoever else is in the office can take these, and I made them to work really nicely with each other, which is good.
It's nice as well, if you remember last time when we were doing the scene with Francis and other people, where everybody in Dream has their own, not only style of creation, but style of working. You know, some people like to start by blocking out the very big pieces and then going in and adding detail. Some people like to work modularly. John, because he is both design and art ninja, he can do either. You can do some very organic things, or you can do very tight creations. I am excited as well to it's nice that we started doing that actually, because a bit later on John will dive in and show how he actually makes the parts and some of the techniques that we have in Dream. I like the fact that we keep discovering new techniques all the time.
All the time, which is amazing, because it's more about your technique rather than the tools, which is something that I think many 3D packages, many things lack altogether. But like, when you pick up a pencil, the pencil's the same as it is for me as it is for you, but the creations you'll get out of that pencil are so varied, and I really feel that comes across really well in Dreams actually. So,
this block is amazing.
Most of this level is just this block, which is super useful, and I've got a slightly damaged version of it over here, which is great, so you can just stick in like this, scale it up, and you can twist it around, and it still lines up perfectly on the grid, so I can line it up with that top edge nicely. And then once I've finished lining all of them up, you can then grab the rubble, put rubble there, and straight away you can see how it looks like a smashed down part of this wall. We put rubble down below because it's fallen, and if I turn off the grid, even though this stuff all works on the grid, it does work nicely off the grid as well, so I can just get it and make that look like it's all caved in.
the fact that you composition and 3D composition and placement of objects is one of the things that I never stop getting bored of seeing in Dream. Like the way that John is just copying and pasting 4 elements, but creating quite a sophisticated and exciting looking design is really empowered by the fact that the placement of the objects is
I wouldn't say easy. It's just intuitive.
Yeah.
You know, if you want something there, you stick it there, and because of the speed, you don't become as precious. So you know, I'm throwing these things together, giving little or no thought to what I'm doing, and you know, I'm getting a cool result at the end, which is, you know, really satisfying. I could make it look like there was a train track here. I have some destroyed train that's fallen down. Okay, so you can see. I mean, I had no idea I was going to do any of this. This is just I'm entirely making this up on.
I love it.
On the fly. Okay, so it looks like it's.
You know, we want to get going on the Mech, but okay. I can't. I'm very excited now. I want to leave you to continue. You know, just what about the bit behind the train? Just expand it a bit, and then we put the Mech there as though they like the
cool,
destroy.
Multiple selecting here, turn grid back on for the blocks, and I just keep using this technique of copying and then rotating it around once to get that nice, and then once you've done that once, you can then continue to multiple select. So now I have twice as many, so I can go faster, and then I'll flip it back the other way like this, so you can see how fast you can extend, and I can keep doing that, and it would get faster and faster, obviously.
I think you also like a bit of history about you, John, like your expertise, your because you understand architecture and building inside out. Do you still do any DIY and building in the real world or not anymore?
Not professionally, but I've never sort of lost contact with making things. You know, it's a
you make furniture and you make
bits
like
and pieces now and then. Yeah, I you know, being creative is just something I love doing. So whether that's digitally creative or
John real world understanding of architecture and joinery and all the electronics, and you've been also a big mechanical. You love robotics.
Oh yeah, I love robotics and Warhammer as well. Like I do.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Like my crowning achievement was I made a flying spaceship that really did fly. It's a Warhammer model, and I made it hover in the air. And Devon was like, "How did you make it fly?" And just did, I guess. You know, let's try and push the limits of.
Okay, maybe now, because we can go back to and expand the scene more.
Yeah.
But I'd like to take some time so we can
Sure.
show the making of a Mech. The Mech, which was like a very cool looking design in Dream. Usually those characters, like, that's amazing, John, to see that.
Thanks.
But usually those kind of detailed designs take, you know, quite a while of modeling and texturing and rigging to make them in the traditional tools. So we want to have a look at that end of the spectrum in Dream. We've always shown as well in our previous Twitches how accessible it all is. There's something for everyone. If you want to just curate, if you don't even want to create anything and you want to explore and surf and enjoy yourself, that's cool. But and the creation has so many sides. Today we want to focus more on some of the techniques that John discovered while he was developing his own style in Dream.
Totally. So one thing that I do that lots of people, I guess this is something I discovered, was the human eye can see more shades of green than any other colour. So I do all my initial sculpting
in green,
so I can see the surface shapes and everything.
Right.
So that really helps.
Yeah, I remember you told me that once, and it's really true. It's a it helps in the, because in depth perception is one of those things. So what's that now?
So I'm going to make, I've got 2 spheres here and I've turned the mirror on.
Okay.
And I'm going to use soft blend and I'm going to just try and make a mech torso in the sort of same style I've done the other ones in, so we can sort of see how I do it. So
excellent. And you know, even though like when we were thinking today about showing off some of the advanced techniques of John, and we always want to show off Dream and make people excited about it, and I was very keen to show that even that ninja end of creation, it's quite therapeutic to watch and not as hard as the results might suggest. So you just like stamped some balls together.
Yeah, that's just 3 balls together, and you know the mirror really helps. You know, sell it as something intentional other than random placement. So, and I'm making this up. I've got an idea of the style, but I don't know what the shapes are. I mean, you can feel free on the Twitch to shout stuff out, and you can think of things to do. This is one of my favourite techniques. Is you get a cylinder, and you could obviously just place it in there like that, and it's okay. But if you just soft blend it like this, you get this lovely kind of cast look to it. Is the sort of best way I can describe it. No, so
it's very in common in industrial design when you look at designs of motorbikes and
exactly
things like
that kind of thing. And then because you've got this lovely soft going to the sharp edge, and it's really good to accent the sharp with another sharp in here like this. So
this is the stuff that is a nightmare to do in polygonal software.
Yeah, it's painful. It's really painful.
To go from the very soft to the very sharp requires very, very particular techniques.
Doesn't like it at all. So, and then inside these things on my other mechs, I kind of thought they were a bit like air vents or something like that, sucking in vast amounts of air to power the mighty engine that's inside this thing.
Cool.
So that's looking kind of cool like that, and I'm going to chop off the side here. So you can see how fast you can...
I love, I think one of the biggest outcomes of this intersection of shapes, whether it's adding or subtracting, is one of the big benefits of working with a voxel engine.
Oh, it's mental. Like doing booleans in many other packages
it's just painful, very expensive. It's not
it's
not what they like.
No, it's not what they were designed for. They do other things very well, but we're sort of capitalising on the fact that we can do that, and you can change things around.
I love watching you work. Super cool.
So that's starting to look cool already. So let's give this some back. Let's cut out the back actually, and I can make room for some hard edge bits inside, so we can just...
It needs as well, I like designs of robots that have an element of anatomical, like Optimus Prime or something.
Totally.
It goes sort of like a mechanical rib cage or something.
Yeah, totally. I know exactly what you mean. It's good seeing that sort of familiarity of something, and even though the thing is completely alien, like being a mech.
Robots, like the human being is the ultimate robot, really. The design of every part of the body is all function. And when they design robots, the reason that they are always coming close to the look and of humans is that it's just one of the best designs to grab things is the hand. One of the best designs to traverse environments is the leg and the hips, so you inevitably find that robots borrow a lot from the human anatomy.
Oh, totally. And in fact, like generally, human design borrows a lot from nature. Like when a man thought about flying the first time, he tried to make himself like a bird. He built wings. We get inspiration from all around us. And so if we're trying to make a sort of giant walking robot, it's only natural that you're going to give it that human-esque feeling. Okay, let's extend that bit down a bit. So so I'm grabbing the wrong bit.
And do you always like to work model in the green color and then color it after that?
Not always. It depends entirely what I'm doing. So in this case, because it's sort of quite sharp edge and I want to show like the actual model underneath, it's quite nice to model. But I can easily model with colours. Yeah, that's not a problem at all.
So we have that's part of the variety and versatility of Dream, that it allows you to work in different work. It doesn't force you down one working style.
No, not at all.
What John is doing here is quite unique to Dream, where he's able to move his decisions that he's placed, all these stamps of shapes that he's placed. He can go in, select them and move them around to just move it and tune it a little bit more.
And it's really satisfying. It's kind of an odd thing, but you can move the negative part, like you're moving space. So usually, like, I can grab this circle and that kind of makes sense, but actually moving negative space, it's super powerful.
Trippy.
But it's very strange.
Yeah, well, one of the perks of our engine is that each and every one of these steps that John is doing is what we call an edit, and those edits are all saved, so we can send them across the cloud. And we make use of the fact that each edit is saved, in the sense that you can go back and forward in time and change your edits like history in
that's it.
Photoshop.
Sort of playing with time is great in Dreams. You can. So that's just shown off. If you turn the soft blend up, I can just keep increasing it, and it's actually really useful for finding shapes, because I'm moving this around now, and I'm kind of going, oh, actually, there might be something there. There's like a serendipity that comes out of it, and I didn't realise that was there, and that kind of looks cool.
It's amazing. I like one of the techniques that I see you do a lot as well is using cubes within these formations to get even more angles.
Shapes out of it. Yeah. So the same way I did with the cylinder, if you put a cube in, it has that same kind of soft but sharp at the same time. Does that make sense? So you can try and line it up with some of the other edges that you might find.
Nice. That's like vehicles. I think one of the things I'm excited, I'm happy that you're doing this demo for designers who are doing industrial design, wanting to sketch out their ideas fast. This is a nice demo, and showing that some of these streamlined designs, like there were some programs that are amazing in doing extruded forms, but when it comes to the organic, especially the organic going to the sharp, it becomes
they can't do as well. Yeah, so it's really good that we can
when
jump
you use
back and forward between the two.
When you use the torus to do some sort of edgings around
I was thinking that. It's just as you were about to say that, I was thinking...
That's all your thing.
Yeah.
I remember, these are some of John classics.
So see, in this case, I feel like even though I've got it out, it kind of looks, I don't know, it might look a bit soft in places. Like it doesn't...
That's cool.
It's got this...
That's a nice one there.
Yeah, that's kind of... That's cool. Okay. This guy's coming together, his exhausts are pointing high in the air there. Okay, and some of the other bits that I had on my Mech that you guys might have seen is I have these cuts in it. So what I do is I get a really long, thin, negative cut like this, and then I will cut into it like that, you see.
Oh yeah.
Go.
I didn't see that one before, that's nice.
Line up like this. That one takes a steady hand.
That's so exciting.
Just move these around like this, and it's really cool to just sort of just line those where the corners meet up, and then you can get some really cool shapes going on. So then it looks like it's sort of already starting to look like sort of cast panels, like it looks like it's joined together in parts, so it gives it that sort of believability.
Awesome. I love this one. it's really nice to watch. I'm hoping, and we're all hoping, in the future of Dreams, when it's all finished and we're always trying to make all the, you can see John when he's working and everybody, when the menu pops up, this is all still in progress, but we are favoring this transparent philosophy of showing you as we're developing. But when it's all done and it's out there in your hands, we're really expecting and hoping that people will do their own sharing of those techniques. And
yeah, absolutely.
And they'll be, because I love that about YouTube and the web and how you learn.
Oh yeah, you know, whenever you want to learn anything now, you can find it online.
The paneling is the best thing ever.
Right. And then these little circles are nice because they look like the sort of where the really expensive shiny bolts are that, you know,
oh yeah,
hold it all together. And you just sort of put them randomly around. There's no kind of rhyme or reason to these. And do them in freeze often looks nice. You know, it's that kind of.
It's so loose. You know, when you see your mechs and you see how madly detailed they are, everybody would imagine, oh my god, that is so precision. But you know what I love about seeing you do it? It's actually quite organic and loose, and you're making it up as you're going, and it doesn't feel like you are stressing, you know.
No,
it's
not at
it's,
all. Yeah,
it's therapeutic to watch.
It's fun to do as well, and you guys, I've printed. You've probably seen as well online that I've printed a few of these mechs of mine out, and because you know I'm into the Warhammer, as I said, and God, their printing technology these days is so good, and the models I've made have just. I love them. You know, it's so much fun.
Have you printed stuff from Dream and used in your Warhammer?
I have, yes.
Oh yeah.
Of course. Okay, so that's looking like a sort of cool torso now.
I think it's amazing. Show me the back. That's fantastic.
And we can. I've got other bits that we can add on later. So when we
well, show us some of your painting and painting techniques.
Okay, so at the moment it's green. It's not that great.
Yeah.
What colour? Like what overall colour should we go for? Like if it was a mech and it had just been painted fresh out of the factory, what would it be? Do you reckon?
So there is. I'm feeling like either the sort of like Ferrari red, you know, yeah, or the sort of like bumblebee yellow sort of.
I'm gonna go for the bumblebee yellow. I like that.
Yeah,
I like the bumblebee yellow. Okay, so we bring up the paint tool and we choose a bumblebee yellow, which is like a slightly orangey yellow, sort of like that, I think. And then we can start painting him. So because he's fresh out of the factory, he's just all yellow, right?
It could be a she as well, John.
Could be a she. Of course it could be a she. Yeah, absolutely it could be. So we got this awesome sort of bumblebee yellow now. And because we want to make it shiny, because at the moment it kind of looks like the undercoat yellow, which, you know, is no good.
Yeah.
We can coat, and this is one way we sort of achieve materials effects, so we can make things shiny and rough and more metallic. So I'm just going to make it a bit shiny. So there you go. You can see now we've got that sort of shiny specular.
So just to elaborate on what you're doing, these are finishes of different kind of paint results. You can have a super shiny or
so that looks like fresh paint, and of course slightly metallic as well, I think, just slightly. So we get the metallic and we just sort of paint over a little bit. We just make it look a bit more metallic. So there we go, fresh out the factory.
Perfect.
Slightly golden.
Cool.
But now I'm going to paint onto it and make it look a bit worn and rusty maybe. So if we fast forward a bit in time, I'm gonna undo the shininess I just did because we want it to look a bit rougher. So we can just undo back to there, and then we can then make it look more rough. So get the rough tool out and we can rough it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now it's starting to hold yellow, and now we want to add stuff like rust and
you want to put some detail like numbers and
that kind of,
the cool stuff.
Oh, nice. Okay, so we get a brown. So we get something like muddy brown like this. Choose a circle, and I could just paint solid blobs down like this.
And do you paint in mirror mode as well?
Sometimes.
Okay.
What I do is I do some of the base stuff with the mirror.
Okay.
Some of the sort of spread out, and then as I come to put the details on, I turn the mirror off,
To make
so we
it,
don't have that asymmetric, you know, because rust isn't asymmetric. Parts of it will be.
Okay.
So what I do is I've turned up the soft blend, so you can have it sharp like that, or you can increase the soft blend, just like how you could with the primitives. And I just start painting in the sort of down inside the low parts here, like this, you know.
And do you find that some of those techniques are similar to what you do in Warhammer?
Oh, almost identical, yeah. So if you guys know anything about Warhammer, what I'm doing now is kind of like a wash. I'm doing it so that the darker brown here goes down into any of the sort of cracks and low level bits, so, you know, like around the bottom of here, you know, which is where sort of dust and dirt would build up anyway, you see.
Okay.
So I can just go around adding in here like this. It'll be nice and rusty in there.
It's really one of the things that I love about painting directly on models as opposed to the philosophy of textures is that you can see directly where your decision is going in the 3D space.
Yes.
I always found it like mind blowing that I'm just painting this unwrapped or this thing in another software that then gets wrapped around a 3D object.
And then you've got to wait to see it and then decide it's not quite what you wanted. And, you know, as you say, like, you can see here exactly what you're doing and the influence it has, you know. So there we go. I've already started to add that sort of
Lovely.
definition to it, you know.
Cool.
And I will do the opposite on the highlighted bit. So I'm going to get the yellow I used, make it a bit whiter, and then up near the sort of top edges.
So this is like not really light you're faking, you're just almost...
This is more like the dust and the sort of wearing of something, because, you know, when something gets worn, near the edges,
It's
the
always
paint will
wear.
sort of get taken off, and in the low lights, the low down bits is where dirt will accumulate. So I'm not trying to replicate light. We have a beautiful lighting engine. There's no need to do
No,
that.
you're replicating the behavior of like this, the wear and tear.
Exactly, yeah, precisely that.
It's amazing to see how fast as well the piece is coming together.
It's looking good. So I've now sort of given it the sort of slightly worn.
Okay.
Now, if this was painted, I assume that underneath there's actually metal, we can imagine. And so you'll get the paint gets chipped off right on the corners, you know, it get worn right down. So the way paint first starts getting worn is the colour will get scratched and it sort of starts getting lighter like this.
Okay.
And then bits will actually get chipped off. So what I do for that is I get the paint again and I get the sort of dark colour. In fact, it might even be a bit darker than that. Something there. And I get like a cube. What I do is I start like just stamping random little bits near the edges like this, you see. And initially it kind of looks a bit odd. You know, it kind of looks like I'm ruining it. But as I zoom out and get the impression, you can see it's starting to look like that chipped
Effect.
rusty metal. And in fact, one thing you can do if you really want to sort of amp up the realism is if you put down white first. So if I just undo those ones, this depends on how much time you have. Really
Keep going.
To spend on doing this. So
It's still insanely fast, you know. We have been like, how this is just 15 minutes or
I'll stamp down some white first.
saved.
So because paint goes. Generally, it's put on in an undercoat. And undercoats tend to be sort of like a white or a grey. They tend to be lighter than the top coat anyway. Yellow's a weird one because yellow's such a bright colour anyway. And then I get the go back to the brown.
We need the Kill Bill line, man.
Kill Bill line, yeah. We do need the Kill Bill line.
Black edging.
Yeah.
Just gotta make sure I have like a brown set up on the
point.
negative. And there it goes.
What's your favorite number
my favourite number? Ooh.
to put like on a robot?
Ooh. Like 4,
Should we
I
ask the
think.
street?
Yeah,
Yeah,
us the stream. Let's get that.
So, let's get that on there
That's
like
the
that.
coolest number to put on the robot.
What is the coolest number? Yeah, you guys must have a.
I like 2.
Two's pretty good.
2 is just like nature, you know,
Yeah.
day and night and
That's true.
light and dark. All the contrasts, blurred and sharp.
And I turn up the soft blend a bit as well, so you can get that kind of. So as well as doing the sharp edge blending, which I want for the chip paint, you know, dirt's going to accumulate around that as well. So
It's
just
lovely.
get some sharp edge. I've mirrored it at the moment,
Yeah.
just so you guys can sort of see the technique, but I'll turn off mirroring in a bit. So I'm going to continue around. I just go around the sort of model like this, putting down the...
There's a lot of different numbers.
What?
Ooh.
You pick, Costa. You're the judge.
Well, I just really like 1337.
1357.
Yeah, because it's elite.
Because it's
Leads, yeah.
Ah.
Okay.
Okay, we do it.
You can't win our
There's some 42s though, which is like, you know,
Oh,
okay.
meaning of life.
I like it, but some 42, which is...
Oh, some 42.
Yeah. It's a good band,
Some
man.
41, isn't it?
Oh, so yeah, some 41. So, and you can see I'm not very precious at all. I'm just chopping those bits around like that. And then one of the other really nice techniques, which I do quite a bit of, is, that's what you're looking like a really rusty, is you get scratches. Scratches are cool. So I get the white out, and I get a sphere, and I just stretch it so it's very, very thin as I can get it. Like really, really, really like wafer thin, you know. And then I turn off the
Turn the mirror.
and then all I do is I just put a few like this in choice positions, and it looks like scratches across the...
Do you ever do them with a little extrusion as well, like with the geometry as well? Then
I've tried that. It kind of doesn't quite work how you would imagine.
It's too...
it's too sharp. It goes in too much. You probably could. Like I could.
It needs to be more high resolution.
I couldn't do it in one go. I could do it if I did like some scratches first. But anyway, so I can just go around like this, just randomly. You know, scratches happen randomly.
That torso's been around.
It is. Man, this is like 60 years down the line from it's come out of the factory. It's done its job, you know. So add all these.
What's your favorite? Because I industrial design and mechs and that. What's your favorite influence or the favorite mechs that you've the Transformers? What do you like?
I think the thing that really got me into mechs back when I was a kid was watching Studio Ghibli, and I saw Black Peter.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, wow, robots are cool. You know, that really got me into it. And then I watched obviously Star Wars and the Chicken Walker, you know, the AT-AT, and I was just like, man, it's walking not like a human, you know. It kind of blew my mind, you know. And so I think Star Wars is, you know, has a huge influence on everyone.
We like the one in Judge Dredd as well.
Oh, so good. So
you
good.
told me once
Yeah.
that one was the big joke.
Yeah, totally. So this technique, I've done the same as the scratch, but I've turned up soft blend a little bit, and I've made it dark instead of light, and so now I can get these like streaks of rust coming down, so it just looks like, you know, coming out of these holes generally, because that's, you know, you'd have a bolt in there that would get tightened up too much and get used, so it would start getting corroded
Oh,
off
nice.
the edges here like this. So just, you know, try not to make it look too symmetrical. You can just put those around.
Oh, that's a nice one.
So that's a good technique for sort of...
Why does that happen in life again?
So you can imagine this going in for maintenance, and they'd put their little spanner in here, and they'd go, and they'd open it up, and that bolt would get chipped faster than the rest of it, and so then it would start rusting because water would come down here, it'd fill up in there, so you know, water would stay in there and the rust until when it rained again, it would just wash the rust out of there, those little gaps. So
Why do you know this stuff, John?
I used to be a builder. Helps. So these things in here though, these shouldn't be yellow because they'd be grey. I assume something like that.
What are these things? They're like
the air vents. I can imagine there being a fan at the back, so they're probably like cowlings and they sort of spin around. So I assume that they're like a grey colour, I think. So let's get the paint.
Yeah, and some future posts will demonstrate movements and how to get like more mechanical moving parts and fans and...
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've got loads of cool stuff.
Oh yeah, that's much nicer.
So I should have turned the symmetry on for that. See, that's when you forget to turn symmetry on, and you get lost in doing the detail on one side of the model, and you come back and you go, oh god, I've got to do it again. And then I'll put some scratches in that as well, because that will probably look cool with some scratches. Turn down, just a couple of scratches like that. And then also that would have some rust on it as well, even though it's, so we get in there, we'll just turn up the soft blend a little bit. to rust it up. Even though it's metal, it's still good. It's too nicely. And then I think one of the sort of colours we're missing, because it's all sort of yellows and browns and like this, we need some green in here. You know, you get like the sort of mossy algae, so we need like a yellowy green, I think, and we're sort of up here somewhere like this. And we turn up the soft blend just enough to sort of get that kind of, you know.
Yeah.
That's where. You
It
know,
adds so much depth as well to the color. It makes it look more yellow in a way.
yeah, exactly. Got a lot of yellow there, green up there for some reason. I wasn't painted it properly yet. And you can see I'm being really liberal. I'm just kind of like throwing it around here, you know.
Cool.
And then now we can put like a number on or something like that.
You want a number, and then we want to put an illuminating part.
Okay.
It's like glowing out like Iron Man style.
Totally. So where do you think the number should go?
I don't know. You say.
Up here somewhere?
Yeah,
maybe?
cool.
Where do you think, Costa?
Yeah, I think I'll put it
Up here looks cool. Okay, so let's get.
What was the number? Of
1337.
1337.
Okay, I'll do my best. Give me a hard number there, Costa.
Yeah. Any font?
Just paint it on quickly.
1337. So, okay.
The cool thing is that it's.
Okay, so we've got that would be 13, and then it'd be like 13.
Yeah.
That'd be the 3.
Yeah.
37. So while I've got this out, I'm trying to sort of imagine. Like that, nice. And then a 3. So
How will we do?
Some people are saying,
what is it?
Huh?
So let's go.
oh, that's good.
I love these techniques as well of seeing just like using the shapes, making the font, for example. And a lot of font designers, work inside grids and font grids. But just like lovely to see even the geometric solutions for writing a sentence like that.
And then I will, to make it look a bit weathered, and battered, what we should do is we should get the brown again and do the sort of chipping technique, but we'll make sure we just chip over certain parts of the writing as well, so it doesn't look so uniform. There we go, like that. So chipping. And then we'll put some of the rust streaks in, just to sort of blend it all in nicely.
Cool.
There you go. Designation
Excellent.
1337. Okay, and then we want like a glowing bit, right? So
Yeah.
like maybe in the head. Something like we could give it a big
Sort
glowing
of.
eye.
Yeah.
Let's do that. So stick a new sculpt in there. Back to green again. Let's put a nice round circle. Right, and even though this is green, we can use our tint tool afterwards, which is how we do the rusty and metal. So I can tint it like a cool colour, like a blue. Blue should work, I think. Let's make it sort of
Cool.
like that.
Really do.
So it's blue but not glowing, and then we can then get the glow, and we can just
Awesome.
glow out.
That's the
Gone green somehow.
It's quite cool actually. I like it. So now you've done a fully detailed mech component.
Yep.
You've got a library of some that you've done previously, and we want to show how we can stamp it on the biped
Yep.
to make a full mech and
Totally.
place it in that cool scene of yours.
Totally. How are we doing for time, Costa?
Got about 15 minutes.
15.
That's
Perfect.
more than enough, man.
Perfect.
Come
That's
on.
perfect.
We can do another mech, really. if that-
Don't push it, Creed. Don't push it. Okay. Let's play mode. So I'm just gonna move this.
It's good. I'm glad we
to get
spent.
that shine on there.
I like it when you take the time now on the parts, because like we spend a lot of time introducing the whole of Dream, but after a while there's so much to Dream that it's nicer to just like dwell a bit on like parts, and in the future we show you all our bits and pieces, and everybody has their different styles. So you got the biped character
Got the biped out, so I'm going to proportion it to look kind of how I imagine
your
my
character.
mech might look.
The proportioning, I remember when we were designing that with Mark and Dave and Alex, and we were all adamant to get our character maker have this step that you're doing. Like proportions is so important in character design.
Totally, it's really what brings a character. Like everything is recognisable by its silhouette. It's not really so much its details, it's about that.
Absolutely. And the iconic characters, like from Kung Fu Panda to Mickey Mouse, it's all amazing silhouettes.
Totally. So he's going to be...
He's got quite
my
a
mech.
serious torso.
So I'm going to get rid of his head, because
You
my
made the
mech's
head.
got the head in the body from what I just did. So what we do is we just get up the sculpting tool and we just chop his head off like that. So no head, and
His neck looks
doesn't
like
need
a
a
little
neck
head.
either.
I quite like that. Like in Beetlejuice.
okay, cool. So now he's looking a bit more like a
Awesome.
mech. I might slightly reproportion his torso just a touch. Yeah, I'm happy with that now. Okay, so now I can bring in that piece that I just did. So I'm going to search. I can find me. Let's go back to me, and it should be the last thing I built. This has worked.
There it is.
Okay, so I can put that, once I've tunneled into him, I can put that in him in a cool position, so that's kind of cool. And then we can just remove we can delete
Cut
the body,
out
cut out
the-
the body
the
from
body.
the inside. The same way as you guys saw me cut out the head
Obvious-
off.
Obviously, there is many ways to make. You can go in the character maker and keep sculpting on those body parts, or you can make a piece like
Yeah.
John has made and just stamp it on top.
Totally. I could have sculpted that straight from the scratch on the guy. So there's no difference between sculpting out and here. We just wanted to show you guys what it looked like in isolation. So I'll carry on adding bits. So I've got some mech bits that I'd from my other mech. So I just go down to the team, find myself, because we're logged in as someone else at the moment, as you guys can imagine.
Following and all the share searchy bits are developing as we speak. Every day we've got new features. Oh my god, yeah.
So I can give him a mech.
God, the super gun head.
There we go, let's put it about there. There we go, let's give him two.
How does the,
Cool, so he now has a big mech gun arms. Let's give him some extra details here, so I can just keep searching through those mech bits because I've got it up already.
And now the nice thing is now seeing every one of the pieces that you're bringing. After seeing how you did that one, it
starts to make sense.
Starts to make sense.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like, my god, this must have taken him weeks, or
No, I mean
it's
it really.
a bunch of shapes that you're cutting through, and hopefully some of the people will have a go in trying out things like that. And
Okay, it's got a nice pelvis now.
exist. You can put this piece that you put on the hip on the shoulders as
Oh
well. like
yeah, totally.
two of
yeah,
them,
let's
like-
do that. Let's do that. Leg bit here. Swing it around. Put that on the top leg. I removed the white.
Yeah, but it's a nice guide to start with.
Yeah, totally.
And the good thing is that our character has got all the benefits of the puppeteering system, so it
Built
will just
straight in, yeah,
build
it
straight.
would just work. Which is super easy.
I like as well, one of the decisions that we made early in Dream is to make things intersect one another and just move inside each other rather than trying to make it all slot in correctly or to try to make it skin right. These are all things that take ages and they're not exciting processes.
No. It's just really nice to just be able to like
You
stick
just
things together and see how it ends up really.
So you're cutting now the underlying parts of the...
Yeah, because I don't need those anymore. They've served their purpose as garments.
And the hip bit as well, man.
Oh, yes. He's got a nice derriere.
Yeah.
You need some arms. He's still got white arms at the moment.
The mega shoulder.
Let's give him some cool arms. Bits of got all kinds of.
I like this one, the one with the red part.
The red part here. We're deep.
Plunk it somewhere on the maybe knee or something.
Ball up there, like you say. That's a good idea. Let's get that.
It's amazing as well that these parts, I remember once finding your mech parts and I used them to make an environment, or and you just, if you stamp it around in different ways, you get like a space station looking.
I remember you doing that. That's really exciting for me to see.
Yeah.
Parts that I've got reused, and you can imagine when we have this out and people are using it, they make a tree or something, and then they log into Dreams one day, and they see that someone's taken that and turned their little thing that they made, which they didn't think anyone knew about, into like a whole level just made out of
remember the
thing.
Mectopus?
The Mech, I do remember the Mectopus very well.
Dan, our Dan Goddard here took John's mech pieces and made a whole mechanical octopus.
Yeah,
Called it the Mectopus. It
the
made
Mectopus.
Alex and the engine team cry because he just like stamped it so many times to make like tentacles.
I think it was basically something along the lines of, he got that, he then, this is when we very first got reciprocal cloning in, he then did that and shrunk it down and kind of did something like that, and then more like that, you know, you can imagine like...
But isn't that
extrapolate.
amazing though?
It is so cool.
Oh my god.
It's so cool. I love the fact you can do that. So yeah, and then he basically made an entire Mectopus in that kind of way, and it looked awesome.
That's very cool.
Okay, so I think we can actually possess this guy and
Okay.
walk around now very quickly, see what he's like, so we can get into him. And even with the move controllers, I can walk him around. He's got his chimney stacks there.
Cool.
So you can see what he looks like. In fact, I can pick up the dual shock as well. We can perhaps do some more funky stuff with him. Okay, here we go. So
And we maybe sort of we can tune it.
yeah,
The walk cycle.
Yeah, totally. So let's go back to the beginning. Get into him. So we can look at him and we can raise his guns in the air. It's like, shield me.
I like the fact that he's left the little feet.
Yeah, he's got silly little feet.
Should have like a Converse shoes or something.
And you can see how quickly it is to just make a character, you know, and I've spent 0 time on him at all. But, you know, I could line up all those places just like the other mech that you guys have seen before. And we can tune his walking, so let's see what we can see how we can make him walk. So I'll just rewind time a little bit. And then as you tweak on him, we'll see his walk cycle. And you'll see how I've positioned the legs in an absolutely terrible position. I've stuck the top leg on the bottom leg on the right side. But just pretend I didn't do that. But we can change all, you know, his jump height and his speed and lots of other little controls. But change his sassiness. Everyone loves sassiness.
You know what? As well, in the last few minutes we've got, John, if you can take the biped part that you've modeled and just expand your environment with it.
Yeah.
And put some rust and things, just like the rubble, and because I
So we want to expand the environment, using his
parts.
Great, let's do that. Sounds like a good idea. Okay, so I've got those parts preloaded into the inventory now, So you can imagine this being like a futuristic spaceship has crashed here and is like taking over the place. Or something along those lines.
his spaceship. Basically.
Yeah, his influence.
And you can tint it.
So we can get like that was his leg, you know. And in fact, if I put upright mode on, which keeps things upright but allows you to twist them, I think we can get that into a nice angle. In fact, it might even just work nicely on the grid actually in this case. There we go. So we can get that, and then we can just bring that across out to there, and then we can get the clone tool out. Where you can see the sort of different architectural styles you can get, you know, from the blocks we had a second ago.
Like it's mind blowing. This.
I mean, it looks like it's you know, this is what's really cool about Dreams is you can use things in ways that you didn't expect to use it, and it still looks, because it's all rendered the same way. You know, it still has the style, the feeling. It feels like it belongs there. It doesn't feel at odds, you know.
Reminds me a little bit of the Geiger.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And then the circular part with the red.
Yeah, let's get that on.
Let's
flip this around a couple of times. Make sure I've got that in the right place. Yeah, the red bit with the eye, that's cool. I have to search for that, so it's a new piece.
Got about 2 to 5 minutes.
Okay. Oh well, we're having fun now.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I'm really enjoying this. And then we've got that one, wasn't it? Which was the right one?
15-hour live stream.
Yeah, woo! Hey, never say never. Try to find. I keep selecting the same wrong for some reason. I've got my mind's gone like, there we go. That's the one I wanted. I can put that down on the bottom there. Like that. Ooh, yeah, big. I like the big.
One big, one small.
Yeah. Big. Small. Actually, kind of.
Oh, the big is cool.
Big kind of works. Let's move that into a better position.
Maybe much smaller. I think the eye thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, slot it in that hole in a way.
Yeah, okay.
That kind of vibe.
Like that.
So you can use them to be very architectural. I find that really enjoyable. Just finding pieces like that and making different architectural doodles.
Yeah, exactly. They are like doodles, and they're just. It's so liberating that you can do things fast like this, and this didn't have to be mech bits. So you can imagine finding any kind of random assortments of stuff that people have found online. We can do the entrance like this. Look, see, that looks like a sort of door to somewhere. See, get that going.
You need the rubble bit now to
let's get. Oh yeah, of course.
end on the rubble.
I put a couple of these ones around because we've
That's
used it.
protection.
I like that. Dude. Don't know if he works there. Oh, he works that way. Something like that, I think. You know, and it just looks like
A light, and then the
a
rubble.
light and the rubble. Okay, let's get the light. That light's going to be super bright if I copy him. I just move one.
Yeah,
Good thinking,
put
John.
it behind the door. Or
Yeah.
something.
Let's just grab that light. Okay, we just bring him over into this corner.
Just makes it so moody.
Yeah, that looks nice. And then we can get the rubble, as you say. And you can just this rubble I find is my favourite bit because it just ties everything in. It just you just put it around the bottom of stuff, and it just makes everything look like it should be there somehow. I don't really know how.
Well, it's a technique as well. Like in drawing and in CG, it's always like layers of shaders and things that people put to add that. But in Dream, it's all equal. You can use something as rubble, and then you can make a very big version of it and use it as the mountains in the back. That is wonderful to see. Wonderful work, John. Thank you
Thanks,
very
Kareem.
much. Cool.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in this week. Hope you learnt something new today. And if you
good
guys
luck. Good luck to our.
Good luck to the guys at BAFTAs tonight. Good luck to everyone who's taken part and who's been nominated. And we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.